Oh, by the way, Florida education isn't as bad as we thought it was. It's actually worse. I was lying. It's so much worse. Florida just approved PragerU kids' right-wing propaganda videos for use in public school classrooms. There's propaganda, celebrations of colonialism, and more. Let me run through some of this. One video tells the viewer that embracing climate denialism is akin to participating in the Warsaw Uprising.
And grandfather Jakub are encouraging Anya by sharing their own stories of perseverance. Timon remembers having to meet people late at night in a freezing cellar to avoid the communist authorities. But that didn't stop him from sharing his ideas. Grandfather Jakub tells her about the Warsaw Uprising, when the city's Jews fought back against the Nazis. Jakub remembers helping smuggle food, blankets, and even ammunition to the Jewish resistance fighters through sewer tunnels. Through her family's stories, Anya is realizing that fighting oppression is risky.
Yeah, the real fight against oppression is literally fighting against the scientists that are telling you that the climate warming is actually bad, okay? Climate change is actually bad. Anthropogenic climate change is real, and it's a bad thing, and it's going to fucking ruin your life. How funny that they are also doing anti-climate change propaganda in fucking Florida, where people are literally experiencing it, okay?
And that it always takes courage.
Oh, was Jesus a socialist? God, PragerU is so good.
It's true. Here am I.
Another has a fictional Booker T. Washington telling two children, future generations are never responsible for our sins of the past. One responds that she won't feel guilty about historical stuff.
How hard we work, sadly, there is still often mistreatment and racial discrimination towards us Black Americans.
We're really sorry that you have to deal with segregation and racism.
Your sympathy is nice, Layla, but know that you have nothing to be sorry about. You and Leo have done nothing wrong and have indeed been quite respectful. Future generations are never responsible for the sins of the past.
Okay,
I mean, okay. Yeah, like some random fucking 7-year-old white kid is not responsible for chattel slavery, okay? But like the issue is denying its consequences. That's what the issue is. This is a wild video to make. Holy fuck. They've completely made up things. Like they've just made up the idea that like teaching children accurate history is going to make them flare up their white guilt, and that's bad. They're going to feel wrong for what white people have done, and they're going to feel bad about it, and they're actually feeling really bad about it. So now we have to do a counter propaganda towards those children feeling bad, which is hilarious. It's like, no, man, it's so fucking stupid. That's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to understand, examine history, recognize the accurate telling of it, okay? And then, you know, see the impact of, see the contemporary impact of wrongs in the past.
I'll keep doing my best to treat everyone well and won't feel guilty about historical stuff.
Good. It's true.
Mr. Columbus, I'm sorry.
The kids later travel to meet Christopher Columbus, who tells them, oh, dude, we got to watch the full one. I have to watch this full one. I have to watch this full one.
Mr. Columbus, but I heard at school that you spoiled paradise and you brought slavery and murder to peaceful people.
Leo?
Sorry. It's what I read and heard at school.
Caramba! Those are some accusations.
He looked at he looked at them and they were like, Caramba, it's time to cut your ear off and bring it back to the queen. He's like, oh, a young boy. A young boy. I want your ears. I will cut them off. That's awesome.
The place I discovered was beautiful, but it wasn't exactly a paradise of civilization, and the native people were far from peaceful.
Oh my God, they were defending themselves, brother. What the fuck? Yo, look at this whole ass. Oh my Lord. Oh my God, we gotta go through this. We gotta go through this. I'm gonna fucking maul so hard. You'll never guess PragerU's take on the Canadian government-funded healthcare system.
This means that like many countries, Canada has a universal government-run health.
What is that? What is happening with the ID there? It's Genghis Khan? Wait. It's Javid Genghis Khan. What?
Canada has a universal government-run healthcare system. This means that Canadians have fewer options for treatment and wait longer for medical care than people in
Like, what the fuck is this indoctrination, dude? Oh my God, it's so bad. This is so fucking bad. It's good. It's so bad, it's good.
Other advanced countries. Instead of paying each time to see their doctor, all Canadians pay high taxes to fund the whole system. They've been convinced that it's better that way. But is that?
Yeah, the entire nation of Canada has been duped into believing silly things like socialized medicine is good, actually. Really fucked up.
Really the case?
I love this, dude. The overriding theme of PragerU Kids is that schools have made white children feel uncomfortable by teaching them about forms of repression, and that anxiety must be alleviated by alternatively burying and sanitizing the past. The goal is to render history and its inheritances invisible, inert, and incapable of inspiring young people to seek a more equal and more just world. There's lots more in the piece, and PragerU is trying to expand more states as we speak. Incredible. Los Angeles, Mateo backs the blue.
Welcome to Los Angeles, the second most populous city in the USA and the heart of sunny Southern California. Its residents, known as Angelinos, enjoy the city's beaches, hiking trails, museums, theme parks, sports venues, and acclaimed universities. In 1848, gold was discovered in California, and thousands of people moved west across the United States to try to strike it rich. At the time, the remote village of Los Angeles was just a rugged frontier town with very few people. But, like the rest of the state, it quickly expanded to accommodate the wave of newcomers. Over the last 150 years, Los Angeles, or LA for short, has been a beacon of growth, offering opportunity for millions of residents. But this rapid expansion of
Los Angeles, or LA for short. I forget that this is for children, even though, you know, or children-brained adults. Los Angeles, or LA for short. Love this. I'm assuming this is going to be about how fucking big cities are full of gangs and criminals now. And this is, of course, a much better thing to teach children than, I don't know, an objective analysis of the impacts of slavery. Hysterical propaganda that like impacts the brain of every fucking boomer being taught to children as the truth seems like a good idea to do this.
Of people and culture has also come with some growing pains. And when tensions turn to violence, Angelinos must rely on a strained police force for protection. This is Mateo, the 13-year-old son of Mexican immigrants living in Los Angeles. Mateo's parents, Juan and Lucy, moved here just a few years before he was born. They operate a small convenience store that serves a largely Hispanic neighborhood. Mateo attends the local public school where his favorite subjects are math and PE. After school, he helps at his parents' store restocking shelves and sweeping the floors. On Sundays, he attends Mass with his family at the nearby Catholic church. In his free time, Mateo enjoys playing baseball, hanging out with his friends, and playing video games. Before immigrating to Los Angeles, Juan and Lucy run a small general store in Mexico. They worked hard to make their business successful, but cartel members began harassing Juan, demanding money for protection.
What the fuck? Bro, what is happening?
The threats got so bad that Juan and Lucy decided to embark on the long and expensive process of applying for a U.S. green card.
Which they, of course, didn't fucking get. Because that's not how this shit works, okay? Who the fuck in America is giving green cards out like that to random people in Mexico? Get the fuck out of here. This hit every, yeah. They applied for a green card and could not win the lottery. So they proceeded to wait for 75 years.
Their application was finally accepted. They moved to Los Angeles and found a large welcoming community of fellow Latinos. After even more hard work, they were able to open a new grocery store. Soon, Mateo was born, followed by his two sisters, and the family was very thankful for their life in LA. Then, in May...
Yeah, this is a really funny point, but they assume the children don't know what LA is, so they're like, it's Los Angeles for short. I mean, LA is LA for short, but they know what the fucking cartel is? Like, why would the kids know what the fuck the cartel is? This is insane.
In 2020, George Floyd, a black man who resisted arrest and was held under the knee of a police officer.
A black man who resisted arrest? Yo! Yo! Bro, they are so unhinged, brother.
Died while in custody.
They make it seem like George Floyd just perished on his own. Oh my God.
Although this happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota, fiery protests and riots erupted in cities all around the United States. Activists claimed that the police were targeting the black community and purposefully killing unarmed black men.
This was, of course, a lie.
As the false claims of racial targeting spread, so did the—
Oh my God, did you say that? Oh! Bro, this is so funny. I think most people respond negatively to shit that they learn in school because it's otherwise boring. So I feel like this will have the effect of Catholic school on children. For every one child that you brainwash with this, I think you're going to make like 12 communists out of this. You know what I mean? It's going to be like the meme about like Catholic school girls. It's going to backfire. And Catholic school boys too.
The anger and violence. Throughout the summer, Mateo and his family were shocked and worried as they watched on the news where neighborhoods around LA were being burned and looted.
The funniest thing is, like, in Los Angeles, Mateo's family also will often be subject to racial violence. Like, sure, there's a lot of brown cops, there's a lot of black cops in LA. Doesn't change the reality. There's still fucking cops, okay? So if they're worried about something, it's probably going to be like, dude, saying this about LAPD is especially fucked up. They killed like a 14-year-old brown kid like during all of this commotion. What the fuck?
Politicians, activists, celebrities, and even major corporations began to demand reform or complete abolition of the police force. Mateo wondered, who would keep his neighborhood safe if there were less police? And what about his family's store? After all, he had just watched protesters smash store windows, steal all the merchandise, and even set the buildings on fire. He also saw videos of angry protesters.
Yeah, this is how LA is, actually. That's so awesome. Bro, who's the scab narrating this? Yeah, I mean, look, if you're poor and you need a job in voice acting, like, how do you not fucking feel kind of gross while you're reading the narration? You're like, oh God, this is so awful.
There's blocking traffic on freeways, threatening police, and intimidating restaurant patrons. How would fewer cops be able to stop this type of behavior? The only cop that Mateo knows personally is his middle school's resource officer, Officer Suarez. Tall and smiling, Officer Suarez has a high five, a handshake, or a fist bump for each student as he walks down the hall.
Yeah, dude. School resource officers are, again, famously friendly to children. Okay, this is written by a person who's like never been at an American school, it seems. And I haven't either, but at least I fucking know, given the data, okay, that it's not like these guys, you can't make these guys look good in the eyes of the children that are going to school. If he's too friendly, then he's trying to fuck the kids, okay? Most of the time, not friendly at all. So either way, it's not good. Who could ever hate a school resource officer? Yeah, literally. Oh man, that's crazy. Jeremy Sanford is a school resource officer but treats kids like this. Lafayette, LA Police Department, Louisiana has a long history of excessive force towards black people, including fatally shooting Trey Pellerin, and now this, unacceptable. You know, just fun times with the school resource officer as he brutalizes you and arrests you and puts you in the fucking system forcibly.
Hallway. Mateo quickly discovered that Officer Suarez is, like him, a fan of LA's professional baseball team, the Dodgers. When Mateo revealed that he enjoys playing baseball too, the resource officer remarked that someday he'd hope to see him on deck to bat with the Blue Crew at Dodger Stadium, which made him smile. Officer Suarez takes time to be friendly, but also has an important job to do. Mateo has observed him doing daily book bag checks and escort.
Yeah. He has an important job to do, which is brutalize, bully, and sometimes arrest some of Mateo's classmates, and also run away when there's a school shooting. You know what I'm saying? I love this. This is normalized too. It's so fucked up. It's fucking wild that this is just like the norm in America, and we just sit around and we're like, yep, it is what it is. You know, that's how it works. If Mateo's school resource officer isn't beating kids, then no kids are being beaten.
Escorting strangers off of school property. Last year, when tempers flared and punches were thrown in the cafeteria, Officer
Suarez went in and beat the shit out of the black kid. Doesn't matter who threw the first punch. Officer Suarez was there to immediately assume the black kid was responsible. And then he came in with his weapons and taser.
Suarez sprang into action and quickly defused the situation. Mateo understands that a resource officer is there to keep the students safe so that they can focus on their schoolwork without fear. He views Officer Suarez as a guide, a mentor, and a protector, not how he has seen police characterized in the news as mean-spirited bullies. Mateo has heard his parents talking about the news.
Our school resource officer did stop a school shooting and still everyone hated him? God damn. What the fuck was he doing when he wasn't stopping school shootings that people were still like, nah, fuck you, dude?
And he agrees with them. They believe that improving police tactics...
I can't watch. This is like not even good propaganda. This is not entertaining. I can't fucking... It's not... I think it's not as like objectionable. That's what it is. It's like really fucked up. There's parts of it that are like completely unhinged. But ultimately, it's not... No, keep watching. Wait, really?
Tactics would be beneficial, but they don't want to eliminate the police in their schools or in their communities. In the past, Juan and Lucy would encounter occasional shoplifters in their store, but they were usually kids sneaking candy. Lately, however, adults have begun brazenly walking out with armfuls of goods, disappearing before police even have time to arrive. With crime erupting everywhere, Mateo wondered if Officer Suarez could help him understand what was going on in his neighborhood. One day after school, Mateo managed to catch the resource officer and get all of his thoughts out. He told Officer Suarez about what he had seen on the news and what had happened in his family store. His parents were worried that the crimes would continue, and Mateo wanted to know what he could do to help. When Officer Suarez asked Mateo how he felt about what he had seen on TV, Mateo admitted that he felt sorry for Mr. Floyd's family, but he couldn't understand why rioters seemed to think that destroying other people's property helped the family feel better. He knew that his parents had come to Los Angeles to escape the threat of violence and destruction in Mexico, but now the criminals in LA were almost as bad as the cartels had been. Officer Suarez asked Mateo what he thought the purpose of the police truly was. Mateo responded that he felt it was to protect others, like resource officers protect the students at school. To his surprise, Officer Suarez revealed that he also served the community in big and small ways that Mateo had never even realized, including making time for helpful chats with concerned kids just like him. Officer Suarez then revealed something even more surprising. To protect and serve was not only the police's job, but Mateo's as well. First, he needed to protect himself by doing the things he knew he should, like doing his best on schoolwork and keeping out of trouble. Next, he needed to serve his community by helping his neighbors. Officer Suarez even revealed that there are programs in Los Angeles and all around America, like Neighborhood Watch, which help neighbors look out for one another and connect citizens with their local police departments. Mateo's mind began to spin. He could protect and serve his community. During the riots, he and his father had helped board up windows. In fact, his father knew every shop owner on the street where their store was located. Maybe the adults could be block captains with the Neighborhood Watch. But was there even more he could do as a kid? The easiest thing he could do would be to say thank you to the police officers that worked in his neighborhood, and he started right then and there with Officer Suarez.
Thank God.
Now, when Mateo kneels during Mass beside his sisters and parents, he prays for wisdom to know how to protect himself and serve his neighborhood. He smiles as he thinks about the new Blue Crew that he's chosen to support, and how good...
Yeah, he kneels to suck off a hero cop after Suarez assaulted him. Also, this is so... Dude, Mateo is kind of lame as fuck, I'm not gonna lie, okay?
Cops like Officer Suarez can teach other kids like him how to truly make a difference.
Mateo's how you get Kyle Rittenhouse.
Tough question. Do our tweens and teens really appreciate living in America? I mean, do they know what life is like for kids in other countries? As parents
that we've fucked over. Do they know what life is like in other countries that we fucked over, that we are going to conveniently ignore, and as a matter of fact, not even ignore. It'd be better if they just ignored it, but instead act like we had nothing to do with. Do they know how bad it is due to our actions that we will whitewash our atrocious behavior, that we will whitewash and justify? Do they?
I say we take them around the world to explore places like Venezuela and North Korea to give them an appreciation for the freedom and rights that we enjoy every day. America isn't perfect, but it's the most blessed country on earth, and we owe it to our youth to give them a true perspective on how lucky we are.
Oh my God.
Don't miss Around the World at PragerUkids.com.
They're trying to make like little debate lords, dude. Would children respond positively to this? I don't think so, right? Am I crazy?
Welcome to Canada, a North American country stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic and up to the Arctic Circle. Canada's vast land is beautiful, but a lot of it is uninhabitable. That's why most Canadians live in the...
That's why climate change is a good thing, because it will make up so much of the Canadian frozen tundra into viable living spaces.
Warmer south, near the United States border. Since its founding in 1867, Canada has grown into a wealthy, advanced, and culturally diverse nation, speaking both English and French. Like many countries, Canada has a universal government-run healthcare system.
And
this
that's
means
bad.
that Canadians have fewer options for treatment and wait longer for medical care than people in other advanced countries. Instead of paying each time to see their doctor, all Canadians pay high taxes to fund the whole system. They've been convinced that it's better that way. But is that really the case? This is Marcel. He lives in Toronto with...
Listen up, kids. Sharing is not caring. Listen up, kids. Your mom went into bankruptcy due to not being able to pay for her chemotherapy, and that's a good thing.
His parents, Aline and Fran. Marcel is a huge hockey fan, and he loves playing online computer games. In his free time, he even designs his own games and posts them online for people to play. His dad, Alan, is a software engineer and has been teaching him how to code. This fall, Marcel will be going to a high school with an advanced technology program. He's excited for the computer programming classes that will prepare him for college.
What's gonna happen to him?
And hopefully a career in Toronto's tech industry. Marcel and his family are proud Canadians. During the Olympics, Marcel hangs the maple leaf flag in his window and joins his parents to cheer on his country. Marcel's grandpa Henri, who died when Marcel was very young, also spent his life in Canada. After serving in the Canadian...
Is Marcel's grandfather Saddam Hussein? What's going on? Am I crazy? This is Marcel's grandfather. His name is Saddam Hussein, a misunderstood Baathist.
Canadian Army during World War II. Henri worked as a construction site manager and raised two sons, Aline and Marcel's uncle Jacques. After Henri's death, Jacques moved to the United States, where he works in the biomedical industry. Marcel wonders why his dad and uncle don't talk very much. Recently, his mom explained that they started arguing after Grandpa Henri died from stomach cancer. Jacques thinks that if Henri had traveled to the United States to see a specialist and have surgery instead of waiting in Canada, he would still...
That's so funny. Yeah, that's the smart one of the family went to America. That's insane.
Be alive. He thinks America's privatized healthcare system is much better than Canada's universal one. But Alain disagrees, and the brothers had many arguments. Marcel isn't sure why Uncle Jacques doesn't like universal healthcare. What's wrong with a government-run system that treats everyone for free? Marcel knows his family pays a lot in taxes, but that's normal in Canada. And what's wrong with waiting weeks or months when you need to see a doctor? That's normal too, right?
Okay, I think there's something really fucked up, but also pretty funny about this argument coming from an American institution, because America's healthcare, even on the private side, still yields horrifying outcomes across the board because we have less doctors per capita than other countries, okay? something to consider. Our wait times are not necessarily great for things that are not immediate either. Like in Canada, if you have a situation where your fucking arm is broken or you're bleeding, you're not going to wait for months, okay? And every problem that stems in a socialized healthcare structure comes from a lack of funding. It's so fucking stupid.
To find out, Marcel is investigating the
And yeah,
differences.
Canadian wait times on average are, I believe, shorter than most parts of America. It's like, dude, you know what's really stupid about this? Is like, dude, go to fucking Kentucky. You have no doctor for a 200-mile radius. What the fuck are you talking about? Go to West Virginia. Go to Louisiana. Go to any rural area where these PragerU loving freaks are living and see if you can get any fucking doctor whatsoever.
Between American and Canadian healthcare. And he's discovering some interesting things. American healthcare is privatized, which means that in most cases, people and their employers pay for it, not the government. American healthcare is very expensive, but the quality of care is among the highest in the world. Unlike Canada, the
not true either.
U.S. has a higher number of specialist doctors compared to general practitioners. It also has private clinics where...
That's not a good thing. It's not even true, but even if it was, it's not a good thing at all. Why are you presenting it as a good thing? Brother, in order to avoid serious complications in the future, you need a general practitioner that you can rely on. Like, there's no need for preventative care. What the fuck are we talking about? I'll tell you what American healthcare is better on, okay? Because there are. On certain types of cancer treatment, American healthcare might be better than other parts of the planet, okay? And by that, I mean they just have like more experimental or better treatment overall. The only thing that the American healthcare system is better at is hotel-like hospitals. That's it. But who the fuck wants to stay in a hospital for an extended period of time anyway? That's why whenever you go anywhere around the world, all the private hospitals are usually American hospitals, sometimes directly called American Hospital, by the way. And their hospital beds are nicer. You get like a single person room, that kind of thing. But that is, of course, if you are rich enough to pay for it. But that's it. That's the one thing that American healthcare excels in, which is, one, it's pay to win, which again is fucking insane. And two, if there is a hospital that you can afford to go to, it's probably going to be nicer generally than a hospital elsewhere.
Where people can pay for treatment and enough X-ray, ultrasound, and MRI scanners to go around. When the doctor orders an important test, Americans don't wait for months like Canadians. They get that test right away. Marcel learned that the United States is a great place for innovation, medical research, and new technology. In Canada, taxes and regulations make innovation difficult. But with low taxes and free market competition, the United States leads the world in developing medical technology that saves lives.
Only in totality, not per capita. It's not true. The United States is #1 in totality for novel chemical compounds, which might change soon, by the way, depending on what China is doing, what India is doing. But it's #1 in totality because it's a massive fucking country and there's a lot of brain drain. Doesn't matter though. It's still absolutely a consequence of publicly funded institutions, universities, the NIH. Like, these are all institutions that are funding and facilitating the invention of novel chemical compounds. As far as the amount of dollars spent versus how many novel chemical compounds are found in the United States of America, we are nowhere near as efficient as other countries. And especially when you consider novel chemical compound generation per capita, the United States barely cracks into the top 10. So the idea that the United States is like the best and brightest in medical innovation is actually kind of stupid. It's not correct.
That's why Uncle Jacques moved to the United States. He wanted to study biomedicine and work in that field with the government out of the way. Lately, healthcare has become an even bigger headache for Marcel's family. Demand for treatment remains high in Canada, but there are fewer doctors and nurses than ever. So it's...
Yeah, I wonder why. Again, every single aspect of socialized medicine that is like seemingly a failure is related directly to a lack of funding in the care structure by the government, which is deliberately defunding certain aspects of healthcare in an effort to privatize it down the line. It's bullshit. And never forget the notion that the United States of America has more doctors and nurses per capita is not correct. This is incorrect, okay? Americans are fucking lying to you if they claim that there are more doctors and nurses in America than any other country. It's not correct. There are significantly less doctors and nurses per capita in the United States of America in comparison to comparable nations.
It's been a long time since anyone in the family has gone for a checkup. What really worries everyone is Alin. He's had
Another thing that's pretty funny about this is also the notion that like what is there? No private healthcare in fucking Canada? What's happening? The American Medical Association is a cartel. I do think that there's two things that stop the number of doctors from growing in this country, and yes, one of them is the American Medical Association for sure. I think that there is some issues with that for sure. Like they do artificially keep the number of doctors low, but the real issue, the major one isn't the AMA. The major one is also the financial burden that you need to take on in the form of like hundreds of thousands of fucking dollars to even get a residency. Like, it's bananas.
Non-stop pain in his stomach and lower back. Alin finally scheduled a doctor's visit, but he had to wait several weeks for an MRI test, and the family is still waiting for the results of a biopsy. Marcel is discovering that free healthcare comes with hidden cost. In a healthcare system,
guys, here is the honest truth, okay? Healthcare as a resource is always going to be paywalled, or is always going to be distributed among the population, either by need or by giving it to whoever has the most money. Capitalism dictates that you give it to whoever has the most money to pay for it. Not socialism, but like a more socialized structure dictates that you give it to those who need it the most. That's it. That's it. Because the resources are not infinite, okay? Let's not say always. No, it's true. It's not infinite. There are not an infinite amount of doctors, okay? In a situation where, let's say, every single fucking person in the country is sick with different medical conditions, and every single doctor has to go to work tomorrow, and every single nurse has to go to work tomorrow, and every medication that they have to utilize tomorrow. In a situation like that, you apply what is known as triage. American hospitals apply it all the fucking time as well, even though you have to pay for it in the United States of America, okay? That's the concept that they're trying to describe. The concept that they're trying to describe right now is that given limited resources, and how limited those resources are is a problem with the government for sure, is a problem with defunding and crippling these institutions with the genuine interest of privatizing them down the line, okay? You either give healthcare to those who need it the most, okay? Like with immediacy, but everyone can have access to it, or you just make a system where poor people die. That's it.
Paid for by taxes, there's a limited number of doctors, hospitals, and high-tech machines. Because no one can pay for their own machines or medical treatment, the real cost is having to wait
This is disgusting. Again, they're not making a per capita argument. They're saying, oh, there's fewer doctors in Canada. Yeah, of course there's fewer doctors in Canada. There's fucking fewer people in Canada. Fuck you. That is such a fucked up way to analyze the situation. Well, yeah, you know where else they have fewer doctors? Norway. Are you gonna sit here and tell me that the Norwegian healthcare system is worse than the American one? You fucking asshole. Why? Because there's less people in Norway, just like there's less people in Canada. The real metric is never the totality of doctors in the United States of America in comparison to Canada. The real metric of success, or the real metric of a viable functioning healthcare system that yields better healthcare outcomes, one over the other, if you're going to compare it, is looking at how many doctors there are per capita in comparison to the fucking population. It is disgusting to me that these guys are just deliberately lying and omitting the truth. Any child or adult that watches this, by the way, this is no different than the fucking adult commentary that they cut, which is hilarious because, you know, PragerU is trying to program adults just like they're fucking mindless drones anyway, okay? And this is for children, for the record. But the hilarious side of this is, like, you watch this and you're just misinformed. That's it. You are deliberately misinformed by a bunch of fucking sharks who want to tell you that this incredibly cruel and unjustifiable system is actually good for you.
A very long time.
And now
When
it's going to be
someone
shown in
needs a
schools in
major
Florida.
operation like back surgery or has life-threatening stomach cancer like Grandpa Henri, waiting months for surgery means unbearable pain, and even the difference between life or death. This is why Canadians make over 200,000 trips outside their country for medical procedures each year. They travel to places like the
Latest available data, physicians per 10,000 people per capita. Number 1 is Cuba. Number 2 is Georgia, Switzerland, Germany, Russia, France, Luxembourg, Saudi Arabia, United States, Canada. Number is shifted between the United States and Canada. And this is physician. A physician, a medical practitioner, a medical doctor, a simply doctor is a health professional in practice of medicine. Wait, isn't even like is this all doctors per 10,000? Now, here's how this works. In the United States, you have 26 physicians per 10,000 people. However, the United States healthcare outcomes are significantly worse than the likes of Japan, for example. Why is that the case, you might ask? Well, the reason for that is because, well, even though Japan also has like a relatively private healthcare structure, it's still heavily subsidized and it's still significantly cheaper when you go to the fucking doctor. So the paywall inaccessibility does not kick in for the Japanese population, okay? So 24 doctors or 25 physicians per 10,000 people is fine if all 10,000 people cannot actually go to the doctor. If only, a third of that can technically go to the doctor. Ultimately, though, this yields worse healthcare outcomes overall. Obviously, the overarching health of a population is not exactly is hard to fully comprehend. It's more holistic. Like if you look at, I don't know, life expectancy numbers, for example, your diet, walkable cities, how sedentary you are, how much toxic pollutants you are being exposed to, things of that nature, your diet. These are all things that factor into it. The United States of America overall, though, on any metric of success, is one of the fucking worst in comparison to comparable OECD nations. Also, this data might not be great. Like, I don't think they have any, what the fuck? The latest available data is just for these countries? Like, what the fuck? That makes no sense. Like, Denmark's got 0 doctors, folks. That's why I was, like, surprised. Here, let's look at a list that's, like, a little bit better, a little bit older, so there's more data. Yeah, all of a sudden, when you look at, like a more populated list, holy fuck, when you look at the list for between 2007 and 2013, a more populated list that isn't just empty, it looks much worse for the United States of America that lands right here behind Saudi Arabia, in between Saudi Arabia and Romania. It was like, I was looking at the list, I was looking at the 2020 to 2023, and I'm like, why the fuck is there no, like, why are none of the usual guys there? You know what I mean? And then I realized, oh, it's because like Denmark and all these other countries are 0. There's no data. They didn't put any fucking data in there. Yeah, they must have just died. All the doctors died due to the vaccine. But yeah, when you look at it this way, Qatar, Monaco, Cuba, Greece, San Marino, Spain, Austria, Russia, Norway, Georgia, Lithuania, Portugal, Switzerland, Andorra, Belarus, Sweden, Netherlands, Germany, Bulgaria, Argentina, Uruguay, Italia. The data probably depends on people to add it, and they may or may not do it without a motive or something. North Korea is above the U.S. I believe it. Yeah, that's a really interesting question, Comrade Baiho. How come Eastern European countries that are poorer have so many doctors? Any guesses? Or look at the home ownership percentage globally. It's always so strange. I wonder why so many poor-ass, broke-ass Eastern European countries have such profoundly high rates of personal home ownership. How the fuck did that happen? Interesting. Laos, Romania, Kazakhstan, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, Vietnam, North Macedonia, Cuba, China, Serbia, Lithuania, Russia, Singapore, Poland, India, Myanmar, Bulgaria, Nepal, Indonesia, Taiwan. Wait, what the fuck? Serbia mentioned twice? Oh, what? Wait, what? Serbia. And then, wait, am I crazy? Yeah, Serbia twice mentioned. Yo! Serbia 1. Oh no! Serbia 1. Serbia 2. Hey, yo! Anyway, and then you arrive at United States of America. Now, one thing to consider here is, for example, you'll go and see Austria so far down on this list. Now, if you know anything about Austria, you know that they have a different structure of housing. Austria has some of the lowest homelessness numbers. How is this possible? Well, it's because 65% of homes in the market in Vienna are public housing. So Vienna does, rest of Austria still sucks. No, but the point is most Austrians don't own their homes, at least most of them that live in Vienna. They live in public housing where they rent. Anyway, more data as man. What is this? Doctors per capita. OECD data chart. Doctors per capita. Turkey 2.2. Where the fuck is the United States of America? Am I not seeing it? Where the fuck? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. America cracks the top 10. Top 10 worst country for number of doctors per capita in all of the OECD nations. That's fucking crazy. Dude, these people at Prager University deserve prison time for making this argument that, like, things are so great in America. We have so many doctors. And yes, of course, Canada has more doctors per capita. Let's look at nurses. When it comes down to nurses, America's situation looks a lot better in comparison to other countries. But even then, oh, you see something interesting here, actually. Japan has more nurses than America does. Less doctors, more nurses. If you were to look at health spending, however, how are we at the top? If we look at pharmaceutical spending, wait, what? Pharmaceutical spending is a percentage of all spending. Expenditure on prescription medication, self-medication, often referred to over-the-counter products. There's 0% chance this is correct. No, this is not correct at all. Oh, as a percentage of health spending. That's such a fucking stupid way to analyze this metric. That's so dumb. Our health spending artificially makes it low. Yeah, our health spending is overall so high that the pharmaceutical spending looks, can't you adjust it with the filters of a percentage of GDP? Blammo, all of a sudden, boom. Bulgaria, Greece, Malta, United States, number 4. And then, of course, number 1 per US dollars per capita. I like that they almost fucked me up here where I was like, what? Like, this is shit that I know. This is shit that I've known for years. Like, this is data that I've used for years and years. And even it caught me off guard. It was like, what the fuck? Wait a minute. And then I realized, oh, it's just off of the percentage of health spending. Let's look at potential years of lives lost. This indicator is a summary measure of premature mortality, providing an explicit way of weighing deaths occurring at younger ages, which may be preventable. The United States has one of the highest potential years of life lost in all of the OECD nations. Okay? Part of that is because life expectancy at birth and infant mortality rates are pretty fucking high in the United States of America in comparison to other comparable OECD nations. Or some of the worst numbers actually are not even in here, which is mortality at pregnancy. Like pregnant women dying. Life expectancy at 65.
United States, where they can pay for immediate treatment that will improve or even save their life. Marcel is worried. If his dad needs surgery, how many months will he have to wait to get it? When Marcel asked his dad if he would ever consider taking the family to stay with Uncle Jacques in the United States, where he could see a doctor and have surgery immediately, Alain said no. He claimed it would be too expensive and that it would cause Marcel to miss school and lose his spot in the computer programming class that he is so excited about. It's true that Marcel would be disappointed to miss out on his classes, but his dad is far more important to him. From all his research.
Yeah, bitch. It's also like 300 grand. He's got no I forgot. If he was actually traveling, I'm pretty sure if he was actually traveling and this happened to him during his travels and he had to get this fucking treatment during his travels, the Canadian government would pay for it, by the way. This is what's really awful. If you're a Canadian paying Canadian taxes, but you are living on US soil for a time frame and you actually need healthcare in the United States, you can get the Canadian government to pay for it. That's not true. Yes, I'm pretty sure that is true. They subsidize your healthcare here in the United States of America as well. That's literally happened to me. I got free surgery this way. I don't know what the boundaries are, but I forgot about that aspect of it too. It's so fucking unimaginably cruel. The American structure is so bad. The BC government will pay BC residents to go to the USA for care if it's something we can't do here. Yeah.
Marcel is sure that treatment in the United States is the best option, even if Alin still believes that Canada's government-run healthcare system will take care of him just fine. When the biopsy test finally came back positive, the entire family was crushed to learn that Alin had a stomach tumor. He went to Ontario's healthcare board to ask for immediate surgery, and they scheduled it in 5.5 months. Alin's pain was already so bad, and there was no telling.
That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. If it's life-saving care, they will immediately handle it. You get first in line priority. The entire healthcare structure is designed around giving immediate access to those who need it the most. It's triage. They do it in every hospital. They do it in American hospitals too. I fucking hate this concept. In America, healthcare costs an arm and a leg, and they still do triage. What the fuck are you talking about? This is so annoying.
How much worse the tumor might get in 5.5 months. Marcel didn't want his dad to end up like Grandpa Henri. One evening, when he was designing a game to cheer himself up, Marcel found a solution. But he'd have to make a sacrifice. The next morning, he spoke to his mom about it, and then he called the school with the computer programming class and told them he would not be attending in the fall. At first, Alin was very upset. He knew Marcel worked hard to earn his spot at the school. But Marcel said he'd much rather give it up and live in the United States for a bit, if it meant his dad could get surgery right away. Uncle Jacques immediately agreed to host his brother's family and help him schedule the procedures he needed. Now, Marcel is confident. He knows that with immediate surgery, his dad's chances of making a full recovery are very high. And while Alin still believes there are—
Yeah, now when Marcel goes to American school, he can be fucking murdered by a gun, okay? Thank God for America. Amen. Isn't it wonderful in this hypothetical that I made up, the American healthcare outcomes that are demonstrably worse than even Canadian healthcare outcomes, and Canadian healthcare is probably the worst out of all socialized medicine OECD nations? Isn't it wonderful that in my made-up story, it wasn't like that? It's so ridiculous. It's like, this quite literally is, well, all the facts and information about how things actually work make my narrative look bad. So instead, here's a hypothetical that I made up where none of that matters, and my facts and information that I'm delivering to you while lying to you seems good.
Are some good things about Canada's universal healthcare system. He's proud of Marcel for doing the research and making a tough decision. His son's sacrifice gave him the push he needed to travel for healthcare without shame, like many other Canadians.
This is such a dumb story. PragerU makes me hate America. Handcuff for the constable.
We got a problem. No, it's good. He was releasing a little bit. We'll have to go back across the bridge. Put him down. No, that's how he'll release. Oh, you're so deep in me, mother.
Oh!